Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews. Reviews from a regular dude, where I do trailer reactions, I react to YouTube videos, I review YouTube channels. Occasionally, I'll review a movie, but really, I just do whatever the hell I want. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gene's Reviews down here in the basement. I'm going to try something different today. I had a request from Caitlin Ruth Ramsden. Caitlin Ruth Ramsden here on YouTube, and she seems to like some of my scary stories and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to do a scary short horror story. The difference is I'm just going to read it right off the internet instead of recording it that way. So this is Story Time with Gene. Story Time with Gene's Reviews. This is called Escaped. And let me give you the info on it. It's by C.T. Platt. And see, it was submitted March 15th, 2017. I believe it was on Reddit. So let's check this out. It's called Escaped. The rain was falling heavily. It was like driving through a thick curtain of water. He eased off the accelerator a little. Had to be careful driving on wild nights like these. The last thing you want is to have an accident or break down. You just want to be at home on these stormy nights. The thwack thwack of the windscreen wipers was hypnotic. He stared out into the glow of the headlights. The rain sounded like white noise interference as it battered the car. He was reminded of the opening scenes of a Hitchhiker film. Through the wash of the rain, he spotted a figure at the side of the road. The person wore a green parka and had their thumb jerked out. Why on earth would anyone be hitchhiking tonight? Surely you would just stay put until the morning. They must have been in a rush to get where they were going. He signaled down and pulled over. The hitchhiker climbed in. He shut the door quickly, glad to be out of the rain. He pulled his hood back and sighed. He was somewhere in his mid-20s and had wild red hair and a thick beard. "Awful night, huh?" said the driver. The hitchhiker held his gaze for a long moment. Drops of rainwater trickled down his face. Yes, it is." The driver pulled out and continued through the storm. The hitchhiker glanced over his shoulder into the blackness behind them. "You okay?" The hitchhiker just simply nodded. They drove on in silence for a short while. The BBC radiophone in blaring out from the car speakers filled in for conversation. They listened to the radio and their own thoughts as they moved on. "Where are you headed?" asked the driver. "North," the hitchhiker pointed. "Are you traveling to visit friends?" The driver couldn't tell if that was a yes or a no. He adjusted his tie nervously. The hitchhiker stared at him in his suit and tie. The hitchhiker seemed scruffy in comparison in his parka and Pink Floyd t-shirt. "Do you work around here?" asked the hitcher. "Yes," said the driver. "I was stuck late at the office. You know how it is." "No, not really." Again, they drifted into silence. The talk radio show carried on as they drove through the wind and the rain. The hitchhiker shifted in his seat and stared out the windscreen. "No music?" the hitcher asked. "What? Is there no music we could listen to?" "Well, I like the talk radio shows. I'm not really much of a music fan." The hitchhiker's eyes glazed over for a moment. Then he spoke. "I like listening to music. It calms me down." The driver said nothing. Several minutes later, there was a news bulletin on the radio. The reporter tried to remain professional as she read the announcement. We are getting reports that a patient has escaped from a Manchester psychiatric institution. The man is said to be psychopathic and is said to have a history of murder. The hitchhiker jabbed a finger on the button of the radio panel. Tinny pop music blurted out from the speakers. The driver stared at his passenger, his question unasked. I hate the news, answered the hitcher. It's so depressing. It brings me down. There's never any good news, is there? The driver did not reply. Don't worry, I'm not the killer, said the hitchhiker, fidgeting with his coat. No, said the driver. I mean, no, of course you aren't. They drove on, listening to the crappy pop music and overexcited radio DJs. The rain pounded down on the car. What do you do for a living? Asked the driver. The hitchhiker was quiet for a moment. Then he grinned. I'm a writer. Really? How interesting. Have you had anything published? No, as of yet I'm an undiscovered artist. I'm sure you will make it. What are you working on at the moment? I'm writing a novel. Yes? It's about a serial killer. The driver did not speak. He flicked the talk radio station back on. A man was rambling on with himself about the change in days. His wheelie bins were emptied. Where can I drop you? Asked the driver. The hitchhiker said nothing. When the driver glanced round, his passenger had his eyes closed. He was either asleep or feigning slumber. They drove on through the storm, down the snaking lanes. An hour later, the storm still growled and raged. The hitchhiker looked out of the window. The driver steered the car in silence. Another news bulletin came over the radio. We're getting more information on the escaped patient. The killer's name is Simon Hughes. He escaped from Green Pastures Institute earlier this evening. He is extremely dangerous and completely unpredictable. Simon Hughes made his escape by changing from his hospital-issue uniform into a suit and tie, pretending to be one of the medical staff. He stole a car and drove off. The hitchhiker turned to the driver. What did you say your name was? My name is Simon. The hitchhiker stared in shock. Simon grinned. The headlights of a passing car glinted off the knife blade in Simon's hand. Well, I hope you liked that. Now, let's do a joke. No edits here. I'm just going to go to my phone here. And let's do this joke here. I recently bought a toilet brush. Long story short, I think I'm going to go back to paper. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hashtag Mean Gene, all that fun stuff. And if you like this video, tell all your friends, leave a comment down below. And if you didn't like it, then just shut up. And I will see you next time.